Hello, my absolutely beautiful Aries friends, and welcome to your horoscope for August of 2023, where Aries this month, let me just say, it is busy emotionally. We want to put that out there right ahead of the game because this is a month where we have 3 lunar events happening. We've got 2 full moons and a new moon happening this month. So that tells us immediately out of the gate that there are some awakenings and realizations that are happening for you, Aries, at an emotional level. And you're coming to a realization, I think, this month, so much about what you mean to other people, the impact that you have on other people. And also, I really think, Aries, this month there is a sense, especially at the end of the month with this last full moon, a sense of closure that is coming to you, a sense of, okay, it is okay. Not only is it time, not only is it, in the reality of things, is it time for me to shift my circumstances, but it is also okay for me to do so. And I am provided support in making these deeply personal changes. So we've got that going on. Now, we've also got Mercury going into retrograde this month. Uranus is stepping into retrograde in the energy of Taurus. And then, of course, Venus is still traveling in that retrograde path as well, having conversation with Uranus, which there is going to be a square with, which make sure you are following me. Not only here on YouTube, where you get your weekly video where I go more into the transits every week about what's happening every single day, but also make sure you're following me on Instagram, where I am giving you daily updates as well as to what's going on in the cosmic sky. But I am also giving you a little bit more information about how to use them or thoughts to bring your attention to it. So lots of good stuff happening on there. You can find all the links for all of that good stuff down below. All right, Aries, let's get in here and talk about what is going on. So right at the beginning of the month, coming in on the 1st, we have got this full moon happening in the energy of Aquarius. And this is, when we're coming into the month and we come in with a full moon, I always feel like that is to be keying our attention to exactly what is going on in our emotional lives right away. And we listen to these monthly horoscopes month by month by month, right? But remember, you're rolling out of the last part of July as well, where we had plenty of emphasis going on of planetary events that were going on. So now as we're rolling into August and we've got this full moon that's asking us to end something, acknowledge something, make an adjustment or a course correction, or to allow and participate in the revelation of what it's trying to show us right at the beginning of the month, it's a month where you can know, I'm going to see things. I am going to know myself, my life, the things around me in a different way. And it's all about bringing you in alignment with your greatest good. Because this is the thing. Wouldn't it be great if we just always saw things exactly as it is? Wouldn't it be great if we just always knew ourselves? And that's very big for the Aries clan, is to know thyself, right? But sometimes we need a little help of an emotional sweep of lunar light to help us see what it is we need to know of ourselves. And I feel like at a heart level, for so many of you Aries, because this full moon in Aquarius is lighting up your 11th house space at 9 degrees of Aquarius, you have needed to know, to show, to demonstrate, and to grow in your understanding of what you mean to other people. The 11th house is about friends, it's social groupings, it's things that are good for, humanity and groups as a whole. Collectively, we live in the 11th house. So at some level, I feel like you've been, you, Aries, right? Like you, and you are further learning that in the know thyself, it also has to include the others and what you mean and how you interact and your importance and your impact on other people. So not only at this 11th house lunar event right at the beginning of the month are you being asked to end, acknowledge, or to adjust something, but it is time for you to see how you impact other people. And allow the evolution of this particular illumination around your emotional life, especially because it is squaring to Jupiter. Allow yourself space with this moon for really big truths to come to light, right? Really big reality shifts in what you mean to other people and what your friends mean to you as well, because it's not just that you need to know, what you mean to everyone, but it's also, are you connected? Are you tied to? Are you tapped into your tribe? Who are the people around you? Are you feeling tribeless? Are you feeling like have you recently moved away from a tribe and you feel like you don't have a next one yet, right? Because this is a great energy for seeking and coming to some new truths as well. One of the best ways to find a new tribe, by the way, if you feel like you're lost, is to ask the sun that is opposing this moon over in Leo, what do I like? What do I love? What brings me joy? How do I play, right? What are the loves of your life? And then allow the sun and the moon to integrate and find a sweet spot in the middle and bring you joyfully a tribe of people who can help you get connected to that, okay? On the 16th, so just days later, it feels like, I really do feel like we whip from one lunar event to the next this month. But on the 16th, we've got a new moon happening there in the energy of Leo. Okay, so this is going to light up that other side of the street, that 5th house energy. Now, this particular lunation, instead of necessarily having to bring the endings at 23 degrees of Leo, this is more about planting your seeds of intention to begin something new, okay? And it really is Leo. It's play, it's joy, it's where you have to take a risk in order to invest in something that you love or something that you find pleasurable, or, take a risk saying something that you need to say, expressing something that you need to say or you need to share in order to really generally be your proud and noble and generous self. One of the other things I was thinking about is because this lights up your 5th house space, it's also about children. So you could really be holding a very big spot or planting seeds of intention to be childlike or have your children beginning something new, and they're needing or calling in a lot of creativity or a lot of self-confidence or generosity, very Leo qualities from you, and they're actually they may be coming to you for some help in making these really significant changes in their worlds. On another note, the 5th house too is where we see conception. So conception of children, but also conception of ideas. And I have recently, over the last 5 years, really found a lot of conception also having to do with adoptions as well. So if this is something that's been on your agenda, Aries friends, to do an adoption or something like that, this may be a month where you have a lot of information and energy to work with, okay? On the 23rd, we see the sun move into the energy of Virgo. So here we go. We've got light, heat, life, and vitality. We are bringing in Virgo season. It's time to get organized. It's time to use a little bit of discernment. The next 4 weeks are really fantastic for getting down to the details of things, getting organized, letting your life and letting the Virgo areas of your chart, which in the general is the 6th house, your daily routines, your health, your wellness, your mundane tasks, how you care for yourself, and how you are a caretaker to others as well. This is a great time for making these areas the very best of your life that they can be. Now, this is where Virgo you have to see where you're at on your evolutionary scale, right? Because Virgo out of whack is going to be nitpicky and get crabby and nothing's right and nobody's perfect and nobody's doing it right and I need more information and it's not right because I don't have all of the facts and it's not going according to plan, right? It can be very stressful and very mutable in that kind of energy. But instead, you can also look to the other side of the evolving Virgo energy that is mutable, that says, okay, in this season of my life between August and September 23rd, I need to release myself to the change of the season that will come next. and you discern the priorities of the details of your everyday life. What's holding you back? What's working for you? And allow yourself to transition this season from maybe things that were customary last year for you, but this year during Virgo season, they don't fit or they don't work as well. So, clear out, clean out, use your discernment to try to make your life. Earth signs want to help you make your life simple. They want to simplify things because clarity is kindness, is key, is connection. Okay, we've also got Mercury turning retrograde in the energy of Virgo. Now, we've been talking quite a bit about the full cycle of the Mercury retrograde. So remember, Mercury actually moved into its pre-retrograde shadow time on August 3rd, and it started at 8 degrees of Virgo. Then we're going to see it actually go into retrograde here on the 23rd at 21 degrees of Virgo. So the entire movement that we're watching for throughout your chart is going to be from 8 degrees to 21 degrees of Virgo. Okay, so look at that up in your chart specifically, but in the general, this is going to be a review of the 6th house area. Now, Mercury going retrograde in Virgo, which it does rule, one of the first things you got to know is that it's in home court advantage, so it's very powerful. This can be a very powerful retrograde for you to be rethinking, re-editing, reconnecting, reviewing, revising, reunioning. You're going back over all things 6th house. So really, truly, you may be going back over your health, your wellness, your daily routine, and what you think about it. Right? You may also be, for some of you, I think there's a strong language component here, like you're having to review language that you have used with yourself previously, or language that was a part of your everyday life, and it may not be anymore. Either way, other things to think about just in general is that when Mercury is retrograde, because it's our thinking planet and it's of the mind, sometimes it can feel like you have a lack of clarity to discern things for the future. But what you can see and discern is the things that are in the present and the past and what needs to be done about them. It is really fantastic for a good old-fashioned cleanup job. And it's like the universe, when Mercury retrogrades in Virgo or in Gemini, one of the signs that it rules, it pops you a new pair of glasses, right? Like you're looking through them where you're like, this is the same old situation that I've had forever in my life, and I somehow am seeing it differently. I'm seeing it with a different lens. I'm more discerning, and or if I'm not evolving in that Virgo energy, I'm seeing it really unkindly, and it's just not good enough. They're not good enough. I'm not good enough, right? It becomes the not good enough talk as opposed to the let's make it the best that it can be kind of conversation. Keep in mind too, my beautiful Aries friends, if you have Mercury retrograde in your natal chart, this Mercury retrograde, instead of calling you in for a review like the rest of us are doing, it may actually be calling you out. What projects, what daily routines, what, if you're a freelancer, what creative ideas have you been waiting to put out? This would be a fantastic time for you to do so. Get it out of your head, put it into a physical, material reality, because you're being called out while the rest of us are being called in, okay? So I can't wait to see what some of you come up with and come out with, and there can even be the signing of contracts. On the 27th, we see Mars enter into the energy of Libra, lighting up that 7th house. The ruling planet in the opposing energy is always interesting, and it will be here until October 12th. But really what it means, when Mars comes into a place, into a particular sign, it changes directions. So it creates a shift of energy, okay? So whatever's been going on in your relationships, especially because the ruling planet of Libra is Venus, and Venus is in retrograde right now. Whatever has been going on in your relationships, if you've needed to take action and have some healing, have some perspective, if you've needed to make any changes in your relationships, and I'm not just talking romantic relationships. I want you to think conscious, chosen, one-on-one relationships, my marriage, my business partnerships, me with whatever I call a higher power, me with myself, right? this is a time where you can make those changes. Now, Mars can be inflammatory. If there is anger, if there is resentment, if there are these feelings that are heavier and they are fear and they are a need being dressed up in something very, very heavy, Mars will likely help you bring that to the surface because it does need to be dealt with. And what you don't want to do is go out there and force and push and scream your way in, into, and through a relationship. But sometimes you got to raise your voice a little to have the conversation, right? Anger is not something, it's not one of the human emotions we should pretend that we don't have. Instead, with Mars in Libra, I get angry, I get upset, we get a little bit heated, but you do it a lot more respectfully. Libra's not down for all the classlessness, right? So we're going to raise our voice and we're going to get our little, say our things, but it's probably in a very equal, balanced kind of way because we want a solution, we want justice, we want peace during this particular Mars cycle. So we're looking for that balance and that peace in what we're doing, okay? On the 28th, we see Uranus step into its retrograde in the energy of Taurus. Now, if you watched your yearly, you remember me talking about Uranus really specifically, okay? Because this is such a long cycle, because it's a planet that is further away from us. So we actually saw Uranus enter into its pre-retrograde shadow time, May of 2023. Now, this was at 19 degrees of Taurus. So if you've got a planet, if you got a planet or a point or an angle close to 19 degrees of Taurus, you know what I'm talking about. We've been having some experiences, okay? But now we're actually going to see Uranus take its retrograde at 23 degrees of Taurus. So not a lot of degree movement, and thank goodness, because Uranus brings change. Right? It brings a desire for us to be free. I need to have my freedom here. I need to break free from what has been. And so we need to do that in small but powerful doses, right? Now, Uranus is going to come direct again on January 27th and then leave its full retrograde cycle. Everything we have worked on in terms of making these changes will be done in 2024, okay? So just keep that in mind. Like, you really have had, I want you to flash back what was going on May 2023, what was happening, what was coming up for you, where were you thinking to yourself, I need to shift, I need to innovate, or you were feeling more like you're attracted to unusual things, or your values have changed very much so, right? So wherever you've seen those kind of challenges and changes coming up, Uranus is speaking to making those changes and reviewing them right now. So just remember, we'll really be in that until January of 2024, okay? All right, now let's close out this month on the 30th with our next full moon. That is going to be this beautiful full moon happening in the energy of Pisces, 7 degrees. This lights up your 12th house space. Now, okay, the 12th house full moon is still asking us to end something, to acknowledge something, but to also, bring a transition or an adjustment that is needed. So truly for you, Aries, it's okay to bring your circumstances to a change, an ending, or a culmination. It's okay. It's okay, and it's time. If the truth is that it is not in alignment with who you are, where you are, what you're doing, if you do not feel deeply connected to the work that you're doing, you do not feel, if you don't feel deeply connected to the secrets that you've been keeping, if you don't feel deeply connected to the things that have been behind the scenes for you anymore, it's okay to end them and to adjust them and allow that time of transition to come. One of the other things I think of too, though, is that if you are working on something behind the scenes, let's say it's a project or you're studying or you're doing something like that, or you've even just been working on something behind the scenes and trying to have the creativity and the connection to it, you may find that it is like coming to an ending, or you have a clarity around it, and you'll be able to put it out in the world. It comes out of hiding in this next 4 weeks, which I think is really, really cool. Now, the last thing I want to say about this full moon, Aries, is because it is 12th house energy, I think about anything that's kind of been living under your skin, which has felt like it couldn't really rise to the surface or rise to the level of consciousness, or, I think about the princess and the pea, like, something is under those 76 mattresses and you just know, but you maybe can't even see what it is, or you've been afraid to say it to bring that culmination, and it can be overwhelming. This is a time where those things may come up and reveal themselves, and they come up and reveal themselves and you feel ready, or you feel like you have the resources that are available to help you handle and process that transition. So really a beautiful moon. Please let me know how this is playing out for you. Let me know how the whole month goes for you, and definitely let me know how you're doing during this Venus retrograde, okay? All right, my absolutely beautiful Aries friends, I love you a ton. Click in the description box down below for any links that you may need to services, information, the puzzle book, any of that. It's all in the description box down below. I love you, Aries. Bye.